Greetings, I am Tom Earl. On this week's episode, we talk about how you should
buy the ticket, take the ride.
With Ramy El-Etreby. Check it out. Greetings, I am Tom Earl, and this is my year of grace. We know you could be anywhere, so the fact that you are here today sharing your greatest gifts, your time and energy, means the world to me. I hope you know in this moment, just as you are loved, you are appreciated, and you are valued. As you can see, I'm not alone. I got the amazing Ramy El-Etreby.
Thanks.
How's it going, brother?
I'm good. I'm amazing.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
So, do you mind for the few folks out there who haven't been introduced
Just
to
the few of them.
The few. Can I introduce you to them via your bio?
Sure.
Okay.
Where'd you get it?
I got your bio from you.
Okay, good.
And then into my email. And then into my Evernote on my desktop.
Oh, wow.
And now it's on my iPad.
That's a lot. It's traveled far.
Technology. Let's do this. Okay. Ramy El-Etreby is a queer, Muslim, Arab American writer, performer, storyteller, and educator based in
Los Angeles.
Boom. His writings appear online on PopSugar, Medium, the Huffington Post, Queerty, KCET, Love Inshallah, as well as in print in the anthology Salaam, Love, American Muslim Men on Love, Sex, Intimacy, and the forthcoming journal POC United, Graffiti, to be published fall 2019 by Aunt Lute Books. How am I doing so far?
That was exciting. It's nice to hear.
I mean, this is you. This is all amazing things you do.
I mean, that's cool. It sounded cool to hear.
Yes, because it is cool. Ramy works in arts education, and he holds teaching artist positions with LA's top theater companies, including Geffen Playhouse and Center Theater Group. Ramy holds an MA in Applied Theater from CUNY School of Professional Studies. CUNY? To stand for something?
City University, New York.
Boom.
CUNY School of Professional Studies.
And is a VONA, Voices Writing Fellow. Did I do that right?
Yeah. I'm an alum of their fellowship program.
Ramy's solo play, The Ride, is a proud recipient of the 2019 Fringe Diversity Scholarship. Ramy is proud to be a recent guest of the celebration and Tom Earl's good friend.
Yes. The celebration. That was fun, that course.
Oh, you liked it?
Yeah.
Oh, I appreciate that.
It was good.
I liked recording that. We're releasing one day of that course a couple weeks from now.
Oh.
Yeah, the one on celebrating failure.
And are we a part of it?
Yeah, it's the one from
that you're in. Celebration Academy.
It was actually supposed to come out this Monday, but instead you are.
I bumped my own thing.
You bumped yourself.
Okay, that's so funny. Okay, well, this is more important. More immediate.
I understand.
Yeah.
So a bio can only contain so much awesomeness.
Okay.
So if you really knew me, you would know.
If you really knew me, you would know that I am one of the most honest and most loyal and most, emotional people you could meet. I feel deeply, and when I connect with you, I connect on a deep level.
Have you always connected with people on that level?
Yeah. I've always been the type of person who had a lot of friends, and, I think later in life, sometimes you question how good of friends, like sometimes, you have closer friends than others. But I'd always had a lot of people around, and I saw them as my friends. Maybe some I was not as close with, but whenever I did a show or whenever I was in a class or whenever I was in a program, people would gravitate towards me. I've always, I guess, been very likable. And I say this truly, honestly, just out of sort of reporting. evidence. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm so amazing and everybody loves me. But people, when they meet me, they tend to like me. I've noticed 38 years on this earth. I've noticed these things. And I think it's because I'm honest and I make people feel comfortable and I make people feel like they don't have to pretend to be anything other than who they are around me.
I mean, it's a special thing to be able to be your full self and received for your full self by somebody you care about.
Yeah. I try not to be judgmental. I'm sort of, I'm here. I'm present. We're all the same.
Well, I do consider it a gift to be your friend.
Thanks.
So I appreciate it.
Ditto.
I think this is a high five moment.
Did that look good?
It looks good. Hey.
Okay. I just want to see it again. That did look good.
Boom.
Oh, okay.
Boom.
Yeah.
For folks listening, we are looking at the camera and high-fiving in real time.
Oh,
see
yeah.
what it looks like.
All right. Some people aren't watching this.
I think we should say to the folks who are listening and not watching, it'd be worth just heading over to the video for a couple seconds just to see how good we look.
Yeah. I mean, we are wearing amazing looking, colorful shirts.
Yes.
We both look great in the sense that, look, Tom's eyes are super blue in his shirt. And my skin is super like it looks golden under this kind of like burnt orange shirt. It's working. And there's this ring light that really works out. Tom invested in his setup here.
This is all a series of Christmas gifts that Adora gave me.
Really? Well, the backdrop, the ring light, the everything. It's super profesh.
Yes. And if you thought that all of this was natural lighting and real backdrop, well...
Oh no. It's not a real brick wall.
I've had many a person come into this room and be like, no, you lied to me.
That's so funny. It is a real brick wall.
Yeah, it's real. Mm-hmm. It's real. And this is real sunlight.
In front of the brick wall, and we're not sweating at all.
So one of the reasons that you are here today, besides us getting to hang out, is that your your solo play,
yes,
The Ride.
It's okay. Maybe it'll be a film one day.
I am
You've
foreshadowing.
manifested.
Yes, manifesting.
Film. There will be a film one day, but not at the moment. Inshallah.
And when you're getting your Oscar for it,
inshallah,
I'm gonna edit out this clip and say, "Look."
From your lips to Allah's ears. I mean.
So The Ride is at the Hollywood Fringe Festival.
Yes. So for people who don't know what a fringe festival might even be, it's a very popular type of large theater festival that is done in like specific cities. Probably one of the more famous festivals a fringe festival in the world is in Edinburgh, Scotland. Edinburgh Fringe Festival. Scotland feels like it's far away, but I know so many people. If you're a theater artist, it's pretty common to have gone to the Edinburgh Fringe Festival with a piece or to just attend theater. What makes it fringe is that it really is theater for everybody. Like you can produce your own work and at this festival, and you can produce alongside other people who've been in the business for years, and maybe this is your first thing ever. It's for everyone. So here in LA, it's the Hollywood Fringe Festival. This is the 10th year. It's always in June, and there are over 300 events actually in this festival, and I'm just one of them. Mine is a solo show. And there is a category of solo shows. There's a lot of solo shows out there, but there are also ensemble pieces. Ensemble means multiple members in the cast. There are musicals. There's lots of different categories. I'm in the solo show category. And my piece is a memoir piece, and because it actually is about me, and moments from my life. So I play myself on stage.
What's been the journey of this solo play?
Well, the original part of the solo play is just my life experience. So this originally everything I talk about in the solo play is something that has happened to me. And it's been in the like when these things were happening, and this is in the past, like over 10 years ago, I had always, even in the moment, I was like, this is some major, stuff that's happening. And one day I'm going to turn this into a piece of art. So even in the moment, I knew that I was going to make a piece of art about this. However, it didn't happen for over 10 years. And the first thing I felt I wanted to do was I got a call for submissions to submit a story to a book called Salaam, Love, American Muslim Men on Love, Sex, and Intimacy. They're calling for American Muslim men to write stories. And I knew I had this story that I had wanted to do some art about. It's a lot of the stories about me being in love with my best friend. And it's like this young queer love story that I felt was very unique to me because I didn't know too many others. And I wanted to write to kind of process it because it was like a major thing that had occurred, to me at that time. It changed my whole life. So I wrote a short story, like a personal narrative, a memoir essay, and I sent it to this call, and the story got accepted and it got published in this book in 2014. And what made me feel really great about it is that the book was not specifically looking for like queer stories. There were 22 stories in the book, and I think 20 of them were definitely about like a straight, like men, seeking women. And my story and one other person's story was about queer male love stories. The other one used a pseudonym. I used my actual name. And so I feel I got like a lot of like press around the publishing of the story because I don't think too many people had seen a story like mine in print before. I only mentioned the pseudonym because I don't think that person to this day, we don't know who wrote that story. So the fact that I got a positive response when the book came out, because I was really worried. I'd never vocalized something like this. You don't often read people like stories in print, like queer Muslim male love stories in print. And I got a lot of positive response. People were really appreciative of the fact that the story was included in the book. That the book was diverse. The book is very diverse. The 22 writers are all very different. And I just felt really blessed and fortunate to be a part of it. And the fact that people loved the story too, I knew it was worthy of a story being written. And so the fact that people responded well to the story was really good and encouraged me to turn it into a piece of theater because theater is my true language, and I think it was always going to be a solo show. I think writing it down as a narrative piece and submitting it to a book was unexpected, but it at least gave me the drive to turn it into the solo show that I think it always was supposed to be. So I think this is actually its true form. We joked about it turning into a film. That's not something I don't see myself as a filmmaker, but it's not the first time that idea has been brought up. And so it's like, gosh, maybe this could be a film one day, but it being a piece of theater feels like the most natural place at the moment for it.
So was the show that I went to in
2016, yeah, at the White Fire Theater. It was the very first version of the show. Show's evolved since. The White Fire Theater hosts a solo theater festival every year called Solo Fest. And so that was in 2016. This was in January. So it's been like 3.5 years since I've done this show in LA. I got to do it this past fall in New York, there was a art show, an art exhibition happening in New York City called Mark for Redaction. And it was specifically showcasing LGBTQ artists from the Arab diaspora. And they were looking for everything. They were looking for visual pieces. They were looking for music. They were looking for live performance. They were looking for, the call was super broad. So I submitted my show, which I hadn't really touched since 2016. There was a long break, and I think the Orlando Pulse shooting also happened like later in 2016. So I think that really kind of like jolted me a little bit and took me kind of away from writing from like my personal narratives a bit. I think I got a little kind of sidelined by Orlando. I mean, I don't know how to say, like, I think a lot of us sort of were, it impacted us probably in all very many different ways, but I think it kind of like threw me off. And so I put that piece away and I actually stopped writing for a while. And it really wasn't until 2018 that I saw that call that I figured I should go back to the piece. I'd only ever done it once in 2016. You were there, Tom. So great. And I knew it needed to evolve too. Like it couldn't have been that one what that performance was. That was like its first go around. It could still be like refined. So I refined it for that art show in New York. I did that in November of last year. And then that was received really well. And because I got my master's degree in New York, the audience was full of my colleagues and they loved it. And that made me feel so good. So that really pushed me to, I'm like, I should do this more, not once every 2-3 years. So I made a resolution that in 2019, I would perform it 10 times. And I got 5 of them at this Hollywood Fringe.
Wow.
So I need 5 more.
So I just want to let people know that rarely is an episode recorded and then released so closely to the release date. So we're recording this on Friday. It's going to come out on Monday, which means
it pays to be friends with the podcast host.
And that also means, though, that you can actually see this. So we're going to plug this many times. For people in LA.
So this is playing in LA until June 29th. So if this is coming out on Monday, that means there are 3 more performances that people could check. They could check it Saturday the 22nd at 7, Sunday the 23rd at 3, and then Saturday the 29th at 7. 2 Saturdays and a Sunday left.
And so all the show notes, I'm going to give them ahead of time, are going to be tomrell.com/Ramy, R-A-M-Y, tomrell.com/Ramy. You're going to find a link to purchase tickets and, of course, to follow Ramy. And we'll plug that all more extensively at the end. But
should I give more, like it's at a very tiny theater called the Hudson Guild.
Okay.
43 seats. And I would love for them to be full. And I had like half at my first performance. And, 22 in a 43 seat house is good. But I would really love for like those last few performances to get as full as possible. The Fringe Festival all takes place in this few block radius in the middle of Hollywood, near the Santa Monica and Cahuenga intersection. And I'm on Santa Monica at the Hudson Guild, about 3 or 4 blocks west of Cahuenga, Hudson and Santa Monica.
Wonderful. So what was the journey like between the one in November and then the show now? How did you evolve it?
Even more?
Yeah.
Well, can I talk about also the first one too?
Let's do it.
Because it's been an evolution, but what happened for the November one is I had the great pleasure of working with my friend Zara Norbash, who's also an amazing comedian. And she is like an expert at the personal storytelling, like through a comedy lens. And she has taught classes in that. And so I asked her if she could help me out with my show. And she helped me refine the original piece from 2016 into a pretty tight, like, 45-minute, comedy spiel. It's not all comedy, but she added comedy. She's a comedian. So she refined a lot of the story and helped me cut out a lot of like excess that what didn't need to be there. In 2016, it was 85 minutes. Then we cut it down to 45. That's about half. Mm-hmm. And so there was just a lot in there that I had to get rid of because it was distracting from kind of the energy of the story. And this is what I mean. Like, she's a comedian and she's all about entertaining the audience, because that's what comedians need to do. They can't get boring, mm-hmm. right? Like, they're not allowed, which is sad. I'm not a comedian. I'm a theater artist. And my story has dramatic parts. It's not all funny. So she was really helpful in at least making the story the main objective for that fall 2018 show. And it was good. It was great. She did a great job. I'm very grateful to her. She's doing her own show at the moment. Also, actually, we have a performance the same day. She's just up in San Francisco doing her solo show, so she couldn't help me out with the Fringe. So I got a new guy, my friend Michael McLean, to help me out. And what I had told him was, so I had this 45 minutes of just great story, but I needed more theatricality. Again, like, Zara's a comedian. Zara's not a necessary theater artist. There was not a lot of theatrical presentation. It was mostly just story. Again, we think about how comedians sort of act versus how an actor or a theater artist. It's a kind of a different medium. And so I needed more theater. I just need, the story's great now. Let's add the theater back into it. And he did a great job. And we have some great sound cues. We have some great video projections. The staging's really beautiful. It really is now elevated to a piece of theater that I'm very proud of. And I was proud of the storytelling in New York in November, but I definitely wanted more theatricality, and now I got it. And I think this is the best version so far.
So when I help a lot of people with their speeches and those kind of presentations, mm-hmm. and one of the things I'm often trying to do is help them to cut. So how do you, with something that is about your life, that you've performed, that you've tasted, you've felt, how do you go through the process of cutting? And kind of what's your advice to people who are resisting the cuts? Right.
It's so hard. I wish I could be like, well, this is how you do it. However, they call it killing your darlings for a reason. They are your darlings. Everything you write, well, maybe not everything, but especially if it's important to you and it comes from your heart, which is often the case, you just think everything is important and it needs to be in there. So you have to focus on what is the main point of the story, or what's the central question or the leading question. And if anything kind of deters from having that conversation, then it needs to be cut, because the audience can only follow so many lines. And if they're trying to follow this line of inquiry that your show is telling or your speech is telling, and this thing you're saying is kind of takes a departure, then even though it's super important, and of course it's obviously related in some way, if it's seems like tangentially related, you have to cut it. I know that's very theoretical. To be honest, I'll be honest, I actually did add, it was 45 minutes in New York. Now it's 55 minutes. I took some of the stuff that was cut and I put it back in, because there was a little bit of storytelling had been lost in some of the cuts, which you don't know until you do it. So again, what I did in New York, I was happy with. The story was great, but it was almost like, when you're cooking and you kind of forget one ingredient and you don't know until later. You don't know until you bite into it. You're like, oh, did I not put salt? Or did I miss the vanilla extract? That's what happened. I felt after my performance in New York. I was like, that's the story, but I think I missed some richness there. And I went back into what was cut and I tried to funnel a little of it back in. And right now, it's there. It tastes good.
Nice. Well, I can't wait to
take a big
taste
bite.
it tomorrow.
Take a big bite. Saturday night. Oh, so by the time this this runs, you'd have seen it.
Yes.
So what did you think?
I thought it was amazing. I loved all the edits and cuts and things you did.
Yeah. No, that's. I'll just get it in person tomorrow or whenever.
So, if you don't mind sharing, can you tell a little bit about what is the story that it explores? You know, and it could be just the trailer version.
The postcard says, "Gay, Arab, Muslim." It does. It's, yeah. With exclamation points. An impossible dream. Gay, Arab, Muslim, an impossible dream. And so some of the themes are around reconciliation, or recognizing the multiple identities we carry, and how can we carry them all, and can we carry them all in any given time, in any given circumstance. Those are the larger questions driving the piece. Specifically, the piece is my coming of age story. I start the piece off closeted, and I meet this man who becomes my best friend. He's a young guy like me. He's gay, and we become really close. And he inspires me to like take control over my life and live my life on my terms. And I end up coming out. I tell my coming out story, which is major. I don't want to give any of it away, but I didn't come out like quietly at home, you know, over dinner. It was the actual coming out is a bit of a story, and there's a fallout because it's a story. And so it's like a lot about how my coming out impacted my life and my family and even my faith. You know, it's about a lot of the shows about being Muslim, and a lot of the shows about having a relationship with God. And it's a lot about like, you know, who is God or what is God and how do you know God exists? And, you know, it's a lot about questioning God and questioning faith.
I think that's a healthy road to go on.
Is it?
Yeah.
Well, I guess as someone who has, you know, was not born Muslim, clearly that's a road you've gone on. You know, you've questioned your faith and your cult and whatever God might mean.
Well, even within being Muslim, like when I first converted, a lot of the rituals kind of anchored me to this new path I was on. And then maybe sometime last year, the rituals weren't as important. They're just everyday conversations from my heart. And then this past Ramadan, I started to appreciate the kind of groundingness of the rituals again.
Fasting,
you know, the 5 daily prayers, going to Jummah. Some of, you know, these were kind of things that didn't hold as much meaning for me. And then I've rediscovered the meaning of them.
All right.
So I think that it's, because then I think when you question it, the answer you arrive at is one that is because you've had a conversation with God rather than a conversation with the expectations of those who watch us.
Right. Yeah, and I also think what you're saying is, you know, I had to be reminded of this a little while ago by a friend of mine, a good Muslim friend of mine who I grew up with here in LA. And she was telling me, you know, we were taught by our like mentors at our mosque that we should question this, like the religion. And, you know, a good Muslim is someone who is actually constantly, you know, in dialogue with his faith, you know, or in, you know, assessing his faith level and what practices are working and what practices are not, you know. And it's like, this is at least what, again, we were taught that Muslims shouldn't be passive and shouldn't, you know, take things like God for granted or take any things like prayer or rituals or any of that stuff for granted. And you should always try to connect. And if you're disconnected, you need to figure out why and what is it that's disconnecting you. But just to constantly be in conversation with it. And I think sometimes we see a lot of people of faith who are very, very passive in their faith. You know, oh yeah, I'm a Muslim, or oh, we have to fast. Like everything's like such a, it feels like just this like structure that they're into, that they're not truly, you know, engaging with.
Yeah.
Not to judge, because that happens, I think, for a lot of us. You know, you just have to push yourself. Someone told me Islam is a journey, not a destination.
I was thinking of it as a verb.
Islam is a verb, just like love.
I mean,
Yeah.
so another thing that we like to talk about on this podcast that you are is facilitation.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about it.
So tell me a little bit about what is applied theater.
Applied theater. Oh my God, I have not had to say this in a while. I've done this with you before, a few years ago. Applied theater. Theater that you would apply towards a larger social aim. Oftentimes it's justice. For me, it's because as a teaching artist that works in schools, it's theater that I apply towards education, and which is also an act of justice for sure. But it's more specifically towards education, towards personal development, literacy, communication, seeing theater as a tool to, you know, change yourself, to change your world, to express yourself. Theater basically is an opportunity for you to make sense of things and to connect with others, like arts in general, but actually truly utilizing it for those purposes. You know, as a way to connect communities, use theater. As a way to have dialogue with people who see differently, use theater.
And I've heard of a term, theater of the oppressed.
Yeah, that's within the umbrella of applied theater. Applied theater is a very large umbrella.
Okay.
And theater of the oppressed, which was started by a Brazilian theater maker named Augusto Boal, that's just one example of what applied theater can be. Some people think applied theater, oh, theater of the oppressed. Theater of the oppressed is just one example. There's totally a lot of others out there.
So when you were talking earlier about your identity and reflecting upon your identities and how we all have complex identities, what came to mind for me is how has applied theater and really engaging in this work, either as a facilitator, a teaching artist, or applied theater, how has it helped you to process or come to different understandings about your identities?
You know, this show is a very good example, actually. My show is truly me using theater to understand the purpose of whatever it is I've gone through. You know, it's a way of trying to understand myself and trying to understand my past and trying to understand, you know, trying to be clear about what my future could be. You know, sometimes you can't really make your future until you reconcile the past. I mean, I think that's true. So clearly the story that I'm telling through this show, there's a larger aim for it. And that's if I need to heal. I need to understand. And I think a lot of queer Muslims out there need to heal and need to understand. And I feel like my piece can just help, you know, push people along that journey to reconcile and to feel, you know, that there's the struggle that they've faced is real and is also shared by others. And, you know, that you have to, you know, process it. And my show is a way of processing it for me. And I think it can help other people process for themselves.
What about people who are listening to this and feeling that inspiration to step into the power of telling their story? What's your advice for them?
Is to start. Like, I got this piece as I shared this piece. This was something that needed to be shared, and it needed to be shared for over a decade before it actually got shared. And the first opportunity I saw to share it was as a submission to a book. And so I just wrote it, and it was hard to write, but I did it, and I knew it needed to be written, and the solo show just started out as 10 minutes. I did it I did a 10-minute segment, and because I took a solo show class, and at a showcase, we all got to share 10 minutes. I shared 10 minutes of this story, and then I shared another 10 minutes at the next like class, and then suddenly I had 20 minutes, and then I was like, oh, let's turn it into a whole thing. Just like start, even if it's like writing down one page, or whatever the medium is. But if you have a story that you feel like is worth telling, that you need to tell in order to like make sense of your life, this one story that it just defines you in a certain way, start writing, say it out loud first and record it. Just get it out, and then worry about editing and refining and turning it into a piece of art after. But it's like therapy. You truly need to like let it out.
I love that, and I appreciate that.
You're welcome. Or thank you.
And we just want to remind folks to come out and see Ramy's show these next couple weekends. But if you're somewhere else in the United States or throughout the country or the world, and you're thinking, I can help Ramy get those other 5 shows so he can get to his 10, then please reach out, see what you can do. Of course, I've already mentioned show notes are tomworld.com/Ramy. At the end, we'll plug extensively all the places you can get hold of Ramy, but we promise we're going to plug throughout this so that we get this to happen.
Can I share a little bit about the title?
Let's do it.
So the title of the show is called The Ride. And it's the title of the original story in the book from 2014. It was the editor, one of the editors, is the one who came up with the title, because the very first line of the story in the book is "Buy the ticket, take the ride." And that's also a line in the show, "Buy the ticket, take the ride." And that's a line by Hunter S. Thompson. He's a very famous writer. He died probably over a decade ago. But he wrote Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. And that's a line from that book, "Buy the ticket, take the ride." And it's sort of kind of like the guiding mantra of the whole piece. It was the guiding mantra of the story in the book, and the same in the piece. So the show's called The Ride, and it's about, taking a journey.
I love that backstory.
Of the "Buy the ticket, take the ride." Yeah, well, it's in the show. It gets projected. "Buy the ticket, take the ride." Hunter S. Thompson. And I gave too much away. Oh no.
We're okay.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Hold on. I kicked the camera.
Look at us in real time.
Yeah. Oh no.
So you might have heard, or you might know, that this is my year of grace.
Great.
So every time I have a year of, I like to explore with my guests what that is. Mm-hmm. In fact, you were part of my first compilation when I asked people what they believe in. If you remember that.
What'd I say?
You said a number of things. I mean, it was like a half-hour interview.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I compiled it with what other people's beliefs are as well. I think it's tomworld.com/beliefs is probably where you can listen to it. So my question for you is...
I've been featured a lot in your stuff.
You have?
Wow, there's another one. Yeah.
What for you is grace?
Grace is like thoughtfulness, humility, wisdom, but also reserved wisdom, listening, silence, taking it all in, being present.
Mm-hmm. How do you practice that?
Sometimes you just have to breathe and listen. Mm. I think oftentimes maybe people, their brain is going a mile a minute, and even their tongue is going a mile a minute, and they're always just so what's next, and how are you doing, and what are you up to, and what did you do today? And everybody just wants to constantly be in communication mode. And sometimes it's can we just sit, and can we just breathe and listen just like listen to each other breathe, even like, you know, like we don't have to like talk all the time, you know. There's like something very beautiful about just listening to the earth. You can learn a lot. I don't know why Grace made me feel like that, but
I like that.
Thanks.
Is there anything else you wanted to share that we didn't get a chance to touch on?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think that's it. I think, you know, just the fact that this show is really, I think, an important piece, and I think it comes from a really important place for me as an artist, and it's such a joy and a privilege to be able to do it and to be able to share it with people. And it's a bit of an undertaking, and so it would be great to have people come and receive it.
Well, I always appreciate and know the energy it takes to start something that's a piece of art and see it through and then share it with the world. So I want to honor that.
Thank you. I'm proud of it.
And it's true that your presence is a gift to people.
You're being so nice.
And this is an opportunity for people to experience that gift at Mass.
Thanks. At least 43 seats on Mass. You know, it's great. I think I'm honestly really happy to be doing it at the Fringe. You know, I think this is just the beginning.
Agreed.
And I really do hope I get more 5 more this year, and then maybe a lot more next year, and then maybe I will have my Netflix special.
There we go. We're just predicting the future on this episode.
HBO special.
Hulu.
No, I just need a special. I don't know. I need a whole series, and they already got a Ramy. They already got a Ramy on Hulu.
Well, I want to thank you so much, brother, for taking the time to do this, and I pray Allah continues to guide you, bless you, and protect you.
Thanks, brother. I love you.
I love you too.
Oh, look at that. Male love.
Male love. But I really mean it.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I love you too. Thanks for having me on your show. Thanks for the fast turnaround. Of course.
So where can folks reach out to you to tell you how awesome you are?
So I have a website.
Let's do it.
It's RamyEl-Etreby.com. Let me spell it.
Let's do it.
RAMY.
Boom.
ELETREBY.
.com.
RamyEl-Etreby.com.
There it is. And show notes, tomrel.com/Ramy, R-A-M-Y, tomrel.com/Ramy. That's where you're going to find all of Ramy's social media, and it's where you're going to find the link to buy the tickets to his show. It's where you'll find the link to his website. I'll have it all there for you at your convenience. So really appreciate you stopping by and everybody listening as well.
Well, thanks. Can we say Dramarams as the handle?
At Dramarams.
At Dramarams.
That's his IG.
On Twitter and Instagram.
Boom.
Thank you.
Of course. So the way let's.
I want to hug.
Me too.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah, that was good.
The way we conclude our ritual for closing the show is to have you have the last thought. So what is your invitation to those listening? And we've already invited them to see the show and all that, so this is more like
come see the show. Okay,
like an invitation to what do you want to invite them to do, to be, to think about, to consider, to go for. What's your invitation? And we can look right at them.
There's a thank you. I've been wanting to look at the camera the whole time. You know, it might sound cheesy, but I would say let the world see your truth. You know, you have things to say, and sometimes you feel like you shouldn't say them, or people get mad at you if you say them, or your family will be mad at you if you say them, and things that keep you from speaking the truth. And you know, it's your life. Let the world see your truth.
I mean, well said, brother.
Thanks.
Thank you once again.
Thank you.
And to all those listening or watching, as always, we're wishing you peace and blessings. Thank you. One more thing. I'd love to continue the conversation. Feel free to join me at tomrel.com/join. Subscribe below, or let's connect on social media. Tom Earl Artist. Thanks again for watching.